ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, X-Wing players, Star Wars Unlimited players, Legion players, anyone who's interested in playing Star Wars games, welcome to our channel. This is a channel dedicated to the games in the Star Wars universe, and my call sign is BatMando. If you are new to X-Wing, then this is the channel to watch. If you are now getting back into 2.5, then this is the place to be. If you like talking about building Star Wars Unlimited decks, then this is the place to come listen to my 2 credits and comments, as we're all learning together anyway. So, in which case, this video is dedicated to Star Wars Unlimited. Our topic for today is going to be basic deck building, and we have 4 subtopics to cover on this one. So the first of these topics that we're going to talk about, and we'll try to keep this under 15 minutes, cross your fingers. So now, the first topic that we're going to be talking about is the number of cards and having the correct number of cards in your deck that will help you get a more consistent play out of that deck. Number 2, we're going to talk a little bit about aspects, but frankly, aspects are going to eat up a lot of our time, so I'm not going to spend too much on it. So if you need to get some more information, definitely check out the website, and I'll tell you what that website is very soon. Then we have the deck staples. In other words, units that you absolutely need to stay in the game. And then topic number 4 is going to be a look at cost analysis so that you can afford the cards that you are trying to play. So because we all start off with like 2 resources, and then, well, there you go. So now, in which case, let's go ahead and talk about the number of cards. Now, don't judge me by this, but this is my second ever TCG. So my first experience with the TCG had a very NPE as a negative player experience, and I just never went back to it. It was one of those things where I just got absolutely overrun with a group of people that just kept on hammering me with everything, but no one wanted to help me get better. So in which case, this is a whole different experience for me because we're all kind of sitting out at the same time. We're all basically on a learning curve, so take my 2 credits as you wish. The people who are a little bit further along in the learning curve probably have more experience playing Magic, or they're the ones that have been playing Pokemon games, or they've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, any number of the card or trading card games, and they're familiar more with the mechanics, so therefore they better understand how this is going to work with Star Wars Unlimited. So now, in which case, ladies and gentlemen, I really like this TCG because it's a little bit of back and forth. It's not just, lay down all your cards at the same time and obliterate the opponent. Now, we're going to go ahead and stick on topic here, and I'm going to tell you to stick to 50 cards in your deck. This is for the real play. I was trying one of the online systems, and we'll do a video on that later, and it said that I had to do more than 50 cards, so I'll get back to you on that. But in regular play, definitely stick to 50 cards in your deck. So the chances increase in your favor of pulling that one card that you have 3 copies of. So I know that for some of us, we're kind of struggling just to get cards, period, let alone 3 of the same. So now, I went ahead and made the mistake of building a couple of decks that had 60 cards in it, and that really did affect the consistency of play. So hopefully you're in a position where you have enough cards that you can have 3 of the same kind, and that you're putting in those 3 of the kind so that it makes it more consistent. So like, for instance, I have 3 copies of Outmaneuver. Outmaneuver is a great card, so that you will have 3 times where it definitely will help you a lot with the ability to neutralize one arena, whether it is space or ground. If you have that in there 3 times, that card, then you have 3 in 50 shot, as in like 6% of that card, or 6% chance of that card pulling up, and then you can use it at least maybe once, if not twice, in that game to completely shut down a space field or completely shut down the ground battle. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about the suggestions that actually came from the pre-release parties, as in this was part of the pre-release paperwork that came out, and it suggested the following: that you have 20 to 25 units, that 15 to 20 of those units should be ground units, then 5 to 10 should be space units, And then you should have 5 to 10 event cards. And then you will notice, just like I did, even if you're doing the maximum, as in like 20 ground units, 10 space units, and 10 event cards, you still have 10 cards left over from this rationale. So in which case, I would go ahead and, maybe you are like me, you're asking the question, well, what should I do with the 10 cards that are left over? All right, I would invest them in events, units, and upgrades, preferably cheaper ones, because if you're keeping the cost down, or the average cost down in the resources of your cards, then you're more likely to be able to afford them when they pop up, and you can go ahead and use those cards and possibly flood the field with units and overwhelm your opponent. Now, try to have 3 of the same cards. I know that I've said this before. Some of us are even struggling to get a booster pack, let alone cards. So try to have 3 of them. What the reason for that is, you can't rely for that one card to do that one thing at that one time that you need it. So in other words, like if you only have, say, like one Devastator card for anybody who is doing Imperial, yeah, that's a great card to have. It shows up, it basically nukes something, as in like it does 10 damage to a unit when it shows up, and it's a sentinel in the space. That's pretty cool. But if you only have one of it and you pull it at the very beginning, you either have to keep it in your hand or you have to put it down as a resource, and you'll never get a chance to use it. So I would say try to find 3 of the same card as possible and put those in. Even if you have 2 cards of the same kind, put those in. But depending on one single card to do that one thing at the right time is not a good strategy. So now let's talk about aspects. You can find a bigger explanation on the website here, StarWarsUnlimited.com. They have a link that says how to play. So let's just go ahead and do this briefly. So Vigilance is going to be a more defensive and trying to heal damage to your base, and you're trying to protect your base from enemy attacks. And there is a lot more endurance to that. But if you're trying to endure the attacks, this may work for you. But if you're going on the offensive, Vigilance is probably not for you. So that leads us to the aggro decks, or the aggression decks here. And what you will see in some of the aggression decks is that they're fast-paced. They're trying to put as much damage as possible, and sometimes not even worried about the cost of their units. In other words, their units are absolutely expendable, and they don't care so long as they are able to throw out as much damage and take your base down as quickly as possible. So, which leads us to our next aspect, which is heroism, which obviously some of our protagonists are going to be in here. You know, Leia, Luke, Han, other rebel leaders as well. And they're fighting for justice and peace in the galaxy. And there you go. So try to protect each other, or these different cards try to protect each other. And then they keep on pressing the attack as well. So now we move on to command. These are good at accelerating your resources, calling upon lots of units to strengthen the units you already have in play. So you got your academy training, then you can put in Colonel Yularen, and every time you play one of the command cards, the green cards, your base heals 1, and you're able to just put down another card, heal your base, and there you go. So now we're going to my current deck. With a little bit of my play style so far is I'm running a Boba deck so that you adapt to the situation on the fly. It's very powerful and has immediate effects, lots of tools for disrupting your opponent's plans, and that can be very frustrating for your opponent. Trust me, I've been sitting on the other side from it, and yes, it's quite frustrating. So, especially when somebody pulls outmaneuver on you. Now, in which case, we'll talk about a chart analysis of a Boba deck that I'm playing here in a little bit, but Cunning is very adaptable on the fly. Then, of course, last but certainly not least, we have our villainy that has been the order of the universe, as in all of our antagonists from the films. So Vader is going to be in there, Palpatine, Tarkin, all the people like Iden. There you go. So in which case, Vader leader units, so not the unit card as in Vader leader, is definitely going to be one of those leaders that doesn't even care about his own people. He has an ability where he can spend one resource, do one damage to somebody, and then do one damage to the opponent's base. So if you have a super laser technician out there which only has one health, he has no problem killing that super laser technician just so that he can advance to get that resource and then also put a damage on a base. So, or even put a damage on a unit that only has one health left on the other side of the field. So that is what you're going to get with villainy. All right, now we're going to go to our next topic, which is the deck staples. Now, these are in no particular order. I would say definitely get some Sentinels in there, especially like the cheaper costing Sentinels, because as I said, the Devastator, oh my goodness, such a great Sentinel to have, but it costs 10, so you have to ramp up a lot of resources to get to it. So get yourself some cheap Sentinels, whether it's the Cell Block Guard or if it's the Cloud City Patrol or whatever the case is, whatever you're running, find some Sentinels. They have to be destroyed before your opponent's units can attack your base or other units. Definitely get some Saboteurs to bypass the Sentinels. Yes, you can bypass a Sentinel. So in which case, attack the base using the Saboteurs, and then your opponent is going to be like, but I have a Sentinel. Well, I shot past him. And then obviously get some more tricks. And what I would tell you is always have something that gives you an extra edge, like handing out resources or doing damage or exhausting units. So you have some different events out there, like you can give a shield to someone in blue, you can exhaust someone and still give someone a shield with a 3 or less in yellow, and all the other things that are possible with all the tricks that are out there. So, and if at all possible, get 3, as in 3 Sentinels, 3 tricks, 3 Saboteurs. Obviously get more if you can, but 3 to a deck, 3 copies of the same card is always going to keep your deck more consistent. All right, cost analysis. Now, when you are building your deck, you should examine the cost of the units and the events that you are assembling into your hand. So, but don't let your deck's reach exceed its grasp. So what you will notice in this chart here is I got 50% or 56% of my deck is units. I have coincidentally split my ground and space units. That was not planned or on purpose. And as a matter of fact, after playing this deck at a tournament this last Saturday, I've gone ahead and modified it even more. So now I also kept it very budget friendly. You will notice that 7 out of my 50 cards cost 4 or more resources. Now that has changed since then, but a majority of what you see right here is going to be 1 cost, 2 cost, 3 cost. There you go. So I'm able to get a lot of stuff out quickly as long as I'm ramping up. Now let's go ahead. Oops. Excuse that alarm. Now let's go ahead and jump to, well, this is a new world. New world of gaming, and what I will tell you is this is a lot to take in for some at first, and that's why I've decided to make a series of videos helping out new players, including myself. So come back next week for more content, same BatMando time, same BatMando channel, and very soon, probably in the middle of the month of May, we're going to go back to featuring our best of 3 series. So we will have a Friday night fight, we will have a Sunday second, and as necessary, tiebreaker Tuesdays. But we will still bring you TheoryCraft Thursdays and some of these videos along the way, just helping everybody out. So with that, thank you for watching. Thank you to Slide Chef for the use of their media in this presentation. Thank you also to Flat Icon, Slides Go, and Free Pick for the use of their media in this presentation. Please make certain to click like and subscribe. Let your friends know about us. Follow us on Instagram. Search us up on Facebook and send me a friend request. I haven't said no yet. And make certain to drop a comment below, especially if you have questions, because we love to get those questions, and that will possibly lead to even more material for us to put up on our website. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks once again. And as always, BatMando.